Them never see nothing, they go see something.
75 for a ticket. For what?
The only thing that matters in this December is anywhere you are, buy Ogogoro. I don't want to mention brands because you're not paying us. What you are going to do is find a Amapiano playlist and enjoy your life. Because if you're not saving money, you're not going to show.
No dirty December for you.
Your December is going to be as white as snow. That's what Jesus wants. White as snow. No blood, no chicken, no. Sorry. My brother.
It's well.
And Daliwonga.
It's well.
Why is it just released as of 2022? So you can live vicariously through because you cannot buy an Azu. If you can't pay 75 for tickets,
no Azu for
you cannot buy Azu. God help us.
So now, why do you think the fans complain about Asake's ticket prices?
Entitlement's a little bit of it. I mean, before I get to the entitlement part, the status quo before was not like this. And we used to have 10K tickets back in the day, 15K, 25K, 30K. Even when it was 30K, I remember Future Show, I think one of the tickets was like 30K. And people were complaining that why do people want them to pay 30K for tickets? But lockdown changed everything because post-lockdown, before I get to that, a little bit of entitlement is also there because fans are only thinking about themselves. They think the show is for them. They forget that it's a business. It's just like how fans of Nigerian music would say, oh, I'm never paying for music. And why should I pay for music? You're forgetting that someone's livelihood depends on you paying for music. So the consumer behavior is the number one problem in Nigeria. A lot of people don't realize that we have, if you are enjoying something, you must understand that it's your duty to pay for some of those things. Some of them might be free, but in this particular case, it's not free. 75K for Nigerians is a lot of money. Let's not lie to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. But this is the price for advancement, which we are going to get to later. This is the price for advancement. It's the price for the global penetration of our music. It's the price of success of our artists. It's the price of growth in our industry. It's also the price we're paying for inflation. It's the price we're paying for the fact that artists are not doing JVs, they're not doing partnerships. It's the fact that they're not throwing their own shows. It's the price for a lot of things. So people just need to also, as much as it's a lot of money, ask the questions, why is it too expensive? And one part, a lot of people are attacking Asake on that day. I don't understand. It's Asake they won't throw shows. Like it shows you how people don't even know what's going on here. For the fact that they're attacking Asake because ticket prices are incredible. I mean, it's a little complicit in it because some of his demands will determine ticket prices, but at the same time, it's not the one that fixes ticket prices. He doesn't. All he knows is that he has submitted the rider, he got paid, and he's coming to perform. That's all. Everything else is not his business. So
you were talking about lockdown before. So yeah. How did the prices change
before lockdown?
Like post-lockdown and after lockdown?
2019 was the last dirty December before 2020 December. And if I remember correctly, we had about 20K, 25K shows, 30K shows, 35K shows. But lockdown was really where things changed in terms of Nigerian music. Lockdown was where we really got to see firsthand the penetration of Nigerian music outside the country. Lockdown was when TikTok really rose. Lockdown was where we saw Nigerian songs really penetrate on TikTok. I remember I reached out to TikTok at the time. Shout out to TikTok for that. I reached out to them during lockdown, and they gave me a list of top 10 Nigerian songs on TikTok. At the time, it was Love One Tintin, Rema's Bima, Yoko's Gang, I believe, was at top of that list. Fowz's, what's that song again?
Squander?
No. What's that song? The one that dropped before lockdown.
Okay.
That was alternative to Don't Rush. No. Like a go.
Listen, that would be.
What's that song?
Don't Miss Banks.
Don't Miss Banks. Exactly. So people, all those songs were on the list, and it was the first time that people were not earning from music from anywhere. So they solely concentrated on streaming because they couldn't go do shoots for image rights. They couldn't go on tour. They couldn't do anything. They were just at home making music. And they were just releasing music, and we could see like Nigerian music just start to go from there. It's not a coincidence that the product of lockdown is what we're enjoying right now. Love One City was released just before lockdown, the one that blew up. Burna Boy's album that won the Grammy was after lockdown. Made in Lagos was lockdown, was just after lockdown. Yeah. All these things were lockdown related. Nigerian music, lockdown was where everything transformed for Nigerian music. And lockdown was just after lockdown. I remember writing an article after lockdown. That was the first time everybody just saw their music just penetrating everywhere. Immediately after lockdown, nobody was in this country. Everybody was touring. Not American tour, European tour, Caribbean tour. Everybody was touring.
Chasing the music.
Just because, you see somebody's song debut at number 1 on Brazilian Apple Music Top 100. Or, it was crazy. Because all those guys so we could do this? They were decided doing all those things. And immediately, in the past, I remember talking to someone recently, and the person said, in 2011, if you paid a Davido or Whiskey $25,000 for a theater show, a lot of people will think you overpaid. But now, conversation for Nigerian artists, regular Nigerian artists, if Whiskey is going to go perform somewhere, you have to be sure that you have to have 25, 30K, 35K to even start the conversation at all. For a theater show. Do you understand? So, lockdown, then someone like Burna Boy started doing bigger venues, 7,000. 8,000, 10,000. 2021 was really where I started doing arenas. So the money that they started earning, from foreign brand deals, sync, shows that they were earning from, the money that they were earning from shows, because now they're touring. You can't tell me someone that's doing 5K, 7K abroad that's collecting 50, 60,000 per show. Their money doesn't come from here. I think people need to understand that. And the fact that their money doesn't come from here means that there's a standard now. There's a standard. So if I do a theater show outside the country and I'm earning $150,000 or $200,000, it's unlikely that I'm going to come to Nigeria and try to reduce it significantly for you. Because if you can't pay me, why am I coming? I understand the fact that what people are saying in terms of, it's this, it's your home front, it's your fans. You have to understand what Nigerians can afford. Yes. But it's not going to be cheaper. The money is going to be pays band members, its managers, it's this to move whatever, it's still going to be the same. The money for the artist to throw the show is going to be the same. It's most likely going to be the same, especially for someone like Burna Boy who doesn't dub it down anywhere he goes. So what I'm saying in essence is lockdown was really where the standard that Nigerian music is now following was established in terms of the amount of money that's earning, and it transformed everything. And at the end of lockdown also triggered the eradication of regular tickets. So before, the cadence of Nigerian tickets were regular, so regular will stand. VIP will sit. VVIP or table tickets will be on the table, they have the drinks and the food and everything. If you have VIP, you could get merch and whatever they're sharing there as well. But the point here is, regular ticket, after lockdown, there was a limit. 2021 December, for example, when Pulse did Pulse Fiesta, we couldn't sell at the entire Moyo Park because there was a limit. You had to do 55 to 60% of the actual capacity of the venue that you're doing. And that, because if you don't do it, they could come there and shut down your show. And that means a lot of people, I remember when we were negotiating event partnerships last year, it was a problem because the things that we normally get, we couldn't get them. Because now the value exchange had to be done on VIP and VVIP tickets, and the numbers were not going to be the same. Regular tickets went out of style because now people can't, if I can't do 50, it's a money decision. And artists are not reducing their money. The money is even going up more than the money from 2019. I have to make money because now sponsors are not throwing a lot of money behind it because the visibility. What sponsors look for is eyeballs. That's why when you're pitching to sponsors, what they're asking for is the engagement. What's the engagement like? Either it's online or offline. If it's going to be engagement, how many eyeballs are seeing my brand? How are they engaging with my brand at the venue? If it's going to be online, they ask you for digital engagements, like comments, retweets, all these things. That's what they're going to ask of you, and the views. Now, offline, because the money for sponsorship wasn't going to be the same, because now the attendance has been halved. They can't do regular tickets anymore. It makes no sense. Some did, but most of them, even the ones that did regular tickets, the price significantly went up. And now, the ones that didn't do, they only did VIP. So that's 60 tickets, and the price of the VIP still went up. Because you have to pay money. Now people have not realized that there's no need to have standing tickets anymore. Why are people standing? Let them sit. Because now, we also had the problem of insecurity over the years at Nigerian shows. Insecurities were a problem, especially when shows were jam-packed. When the numbers, people were doing 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 shows. It would be so packed. Everybody is able to afford it. Most people are going to be able to afford it.
Yeah.
We are going to have a problem with our current security problems. Like in the past, we've had like shows where people got raped, people got robbed, people got killed. Like all those things used to happen. So regular tickets, people just, we don't want this headache that comes with it. So let's focus on how we can monetize, get the best amount of people in, and everybody is fine. And table tickets before was like 2.5, 3.7, 5 million, now it's 10 million, 12 million, 50. It's what it is. People have to make money. When they have to respond to these realities of the industry. That's it.
Yeah, can you share some insight into how promoters plan shows?
Planning for the next show starts after the previous show. So the number one thing they do is they do meetings with their sponsors, like the brand partners that they have. What are the things that where your goals are achieved, so that you have to preserve the relationships that come into it. One, number two, you are looking at the amount of money you made as against the expenditure, as against the amount of money you throw out there. That's number two. Number three, what are fans saying about your show, especially the next day after? That's very important because you want your brand to be associated with excellence. That's number three. Number four, which is very important, now they have to think about money. What is the economy saying this year? Start conversations for the events in December. Some of them start these conversations as early as March, April to know what's happening. But sometimes they wait till like the middle of the year to know who's hot and who's not. Because you can't just show your weight. What if this person doesn't have any success throughout the year? So a lot of them really start looking at the landscape around March, April, but they start making their moves around October, November, September, October. Some of them start making moves. Some start as early as August. They're going to bring foreign artists into the country because you don't know what the person's schedule is. A lot of them have to travel to LA, travel to Atlanta to go meet these people. They have teams and all of these things. And now they have to also raise money because this money doesn't come from, it's just like you want to sign a player. This money's come from, some of them come from like talking to partners. Some of them have to pull the money out of investments and some of these things. So these are the way, and then when they do all those things, now they have to talk to sponsors. How much money are you bringing to the table? Do we even have a way to bring money? Or the sponsor says, you guys never give us any value, or you have to then preserve relationships. All these things. Then you're not talking to artists. You're talking about security. What's the venue? What type of venue works for these artists? What type of things do you want to do? How much is table tickets going to cost? How much does the artist cost? Because all these things are money. So a lot of times, some people are able to generate money from sponsorships. Tickets in Nigeria, a lot of people even give tickets away for free to partners and stuff. A lot of tickets go for free in Nigerian shows. Free. So sponsors, how much money are you making? How much money is the show likely to cost? How much can you raise? How much can sponsors bring to the table to help you offset costs? How much is the artist? How much is the venue? How much is the sound? How much are the other things? People that you are going to employ. How many rooms did you tell? If it's a hotel, how many rooms did the hotel are you going to get? All these things go. Maybe the cost of the show is about 300, 400 million naira. Right? But now, Nigerian artists are expensive. For example, I wrote an article about this recently. A Burna Boy show. Do you know how much Burna Boy is collecting right now?
It's 500 minimum.
We'll get to that for the next question.
Oh God. So now, what do you think determines the model of Nigerian show promoter?
It depends on who the show promoter is. What's his name, for example? Whoever is doing Small Doctor show, we used to do a show at Agege Stadium. Yeah. So you have to understand that his target market is different. He's doing it in Agege. So the show it has to be very cheap, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. It can't be more than that because nobody's going to attend. Yeah. If it's too expensive at that day, you're only going to have one. You're not going to sell out the stadium. So, but a lot of these people, what determines the model is number one, the reality of the country, where they're doing the show. And number two, the type of artists that they're bringing, and what are their targets? How much money do they project to make of the show? So, and then what are the other ancillary factors around the show where you are doing the show? If you are doing the show at Eco Atlantic, for example, Landmark, you have to think about security because people are going to be walking out around 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning. They could get robbed. So you need to think about security. That means you are going to pay more money for security. That means you might not be able to. You don't want to do a show for like 2,000 naira. Even if you're doing it for 2,000, then that means you know what you're getting into. Maybe you want to be able to make money by the numbers, and that means you have to plan more around security and all those things. Then maybe the artists that are bringing are probably going to be as big as well to pull in the money that you can make. But sometimes, if you're doing the show at a hotel, and you think, look, I don't want this place to be overpacked. I don't want overcrowding. For example, when Amali was doing the show in 2019, there was a tendency for the show to be overcrowded. What they did was at the gates, they were not accepting tickets inside just before at the gates at the entrance to a hotel, Eco Convention Center. They were collecting tickets at the gates. If you don't have a ticket, you are not entering the gates at all. You understand? So what makes sense for some people? They will think, look, I don't want my venue to be overcrowded. All I want is to just make my money, and I'm doing it at the hotel. I know that if I sell, I have maybe they have 100 tables. You probably don't want to sell all of the 100 tables. You're probably going to give some of them out, right? You're probably not going to have 100 tables. Let's say you have 50 tables, 60 tables. At the end of the day, maybe one table is 100 million naira. If you can sell like 10 of 15 or 20 of those tables, you have 200 million naira. You are good in a way. Sponsors bring money. So then how much money am I making for tickets? Because it's a business. If I spend 400 million naira on the show, if I'm not making at least 200, 300 million on it, it makes no sense. So I have to make more money. I have to make money on the show so that everybody is happy. I can pay my staff. I can pay this. I can pay that. So what determines the show is a lot of these things. What's the strategy? What's the vision? Where is the show happening? Who's the audience of where the show is happening? And what's my desire to make the show? For sometimes, when Olamide used to do the show Olik that year, the show was to make money, but it was also to give back, to give his people the idea of seeing him. That's why the tickets were not that expensive. Because now, if you make it expensive, then you're not giving back to your people. You're just collecting from them. So if Olamide is not doing it to make money, he's doing it to show that it's just, people will just be able to see him and they'll be able to be happy by seeing him. So it's not essentially about making money. So the goal of that show is different from the goal of someone who is doing the show strictly as a business venture. Very different.
So what are the factors you think determine ticket prices in the Nigerian show?
A bunch of things, a bunch of factors. Number one, we have to realize that Nigerian artists are freaking expensive right now. Freaking expensive. For my article that I recently wrote, I spoke with a few sources. We recently showed that Bernard Dean in South Africa, we bought on the streets that he collected the money that a child was about $500,000. $500,000. And I gathered from another source that that was even at a discounted price. That when it comes to Burna Boy and Wiz right now, we are talking 700 to 1 million sometimes. That's $1 million. $700,000 to $1 million. That's global standards. That's global superstar numbers. Like, I was listening to Roddy Ricch, a Roddy Ricch song yesterday, and Roddy Ricch was saying that it gets 500,000 to go to a show. That's Roddy Ricch, who has the number one stick, one of the biggest songs in the last 5 years, Roddy Ricch. And Nigerian artists are collecting 700,000 to $1 million for a show. Do you understand? And the reason why that is happening is because a lot of people are going to be outraged that why in the world are these guys charging 500,000, 700,000 a million? It's because Burna Boy can sell out back-to-back arena shows in America. It might not be people. Afrobeat is more experiential than it's remote these days. Remote means like people are listening to the songs in their rooms. But people want to go to Afrobeat shows because that's where you enjoy the music. It's blasting from huge speakers. You are seeing a lot of people who are listening to the music with a different appetite. So people go to Afrobeat shows to enjoy the atmosphere, to enjoy the music. That's why a lot of them are not exact. That's why Burna can sell 25K first week. We can do 13K first week. But the two of them in Europe or America, they can do, we just did MSG.
Yeah.
You get it's way more than, it's higher tickets than his album sold first week.
Yeah.
So it behoves, it's a journey as well, but the majors will find a way to transfer the audience that goes to shows to people that listen to albums so that the number of first week sales can increase. And that's why a lot of Afrobeat albums these days hits good within a year because people that go to shows then become listeners over time. So going back to the conversation about this money, right, is if that is happening, and now I know for a fact that people, all these top 3, top 4 Nigerian artists, if you are still going to get them for shows, you are still talking 200 M, 300 M, 400 M. Bro, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money for a headliner. And sometimes they're not the only artists that are on your bill. You're talking a 3-day show, 3-day festival, 4-day festival. So for artists alone, you're looking at close to 700 mil. Bro, that's a lot of money. And even like an Asake, for example. Asake is not going to do arena shows yet. Asake or Thames might not do arena shows yet. But these guys are doing theater shows, 3,000, 5,000, 6,000. And conversations from them start from $40,000, $50,000. It's not jokes, bro. $50,000 is like 40 million naira. It's 40 million naira. Now, which brings me to my next point. You can't tell Nigerian, it's not going to be reasonable to tell Nigerian artists to reduce their money significantly because they want to perform here. It's the same energy that it requires. Maybe not the same, but you get what I mean. You can't tell show promoters to take a hit. It makes no sense, no business sense. So how do you want them to make the money back? And you can't tell them not to throw shows because it's going to be counterproductive for the culture if they don't throw shows. Ghana is already doing Afrochella and what's the other one? Afro Nation this December. They've been doing every year for the past 3 years. We are not. They are ahead in terms of, you are talking about hits on tourism. Yeah. You see what KPMG is talking about in terms of projections of creative industry and entertainment over the next, by 2030, it's going to be making $10 billion. Yeah. If you don't attract tourism to your shows in December, that's not going to happen. Yeah. And jobs are not going to be created. So the only way sometimes for this to happen, okay, you want them to reduce the number of tickets. Now they are going to risk overcrowding because Asake is the hottest Nigerian artist of the year. If you put the show at 10,000, a hotel will tear. If you put it at 25, a hotel will tear. Because you have to control it. You have to. Oh, now it's elitist. Okay. Maybe after Asake control his own show, like Olamide used to do at Olik, with Olik, and do it for his people. But for the people that are putting their money behind it, they have to be able to make the money back. Now to the second point, people don't understand what it means to have superstars perform on a bill in December. One, they are highly sought after. So that means they have a number of shows in December. They are performing year-end shows. Bank, companies, all these things, private shows. It's unlikely that everybody that goes to those shows. Now, people that are going to be at all those year-end company shows are probably people that are going to buy tickets at tables. Yes. I saw Tony Lumelu at P-Square show last year. Oh, we were there. Exactly. I saw Tony Lumelu at P-Square show last year. Yeah. We were even confused that is it the one? Do you understand? Like the man was dancing. So what I'm saying necessarily, they're probably going to be one that Nigerians don't buy tickets. These professionals and people that have the money are the ones that are buying tickets and tables. You don't want a situation where they have seen Asake at 2 or 3 parties already for free. They won't come to the show. It's unlikely that they will come buy the tables. So that means you want Asake to turn down that share, or Wiz or Burner, you are paying a premium on whatever you are paying because now they're turning down money and risking potential relationships. That's what you are doing. Or at least they are not doing those shows until after your show. Yeah. And you even have situations right now where Nigerian artists are saying, I'm not promoting this show until after X show because they have vested interest in a particular show. Maybe Dangote has called the person to come and perform at his year-end party. You have that problem already. Or maybe a brand that is signed to his has put money behind the party. It's going to tell you that, bro, until after this particular show, I'm not promoting any show. So that means your show is going to take a hit already. Because except I think Whiskey is the only person that can pack 3 shows in December and everything will be full. Because his fans are crazy. They are ridiculous, there are many. And even that's even eye test. The numbers cannot be the same on all 3 days of those shows. They simply cannot. So for me to do a show after a show that someone has already done, which got higher marketing, and the person, maybe the show that I want to do is like 3 days after the show that the person refused to market. Like the person refused to do any other thing aside from. There's a problem. I have to make money. I gotta make money. Because my sponsors are looking forward to that. I have to make money. The guy has to come and I still have to make my money back. That's number 2. Number 3, Sponsorships are a problem right now. Sponsors are not ready to put money behind anything. Maybe not. It's not. Maybe they're not. Let me not say they're not ready to put money behind anything. It's not the same. They're not. It's not the same. It's not the same. Because people are going to say, "Oh, it's at the end of the year. Dollar is high. Budget." People are laying people off right now.
Yeah.
It's unlikely that most sponsors that used to drop maybe 100 million in the past might not do it this year. So maybe if they're dropping 50 million, that means if they dropped 100 million last year, they're dropping 50 million this year, it's already a problem. And I have to make money. Do I not? I have to make money. So the problem, another problem here is the fact that Nigerian artists are simply not the people to, how do I put this? They are simply not the people to mess with. So let's say, now, if you want to make your money back, do a smaller venue.
Yeah.
Nigerian artists are not going to do smaller venue.
At all.
The big ones are not going to do smaller venue. That's not going to happen. So what's the solution here? What's the solution?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you've highlighted the problem. So what do you think can be the solutions to this issue?
Number one, shout out to some of the people that spoke with me. I spoke with a lot of people. I spoke with about 5, 6, 7, 8 show promoters. And number one, there has to be a body that's of events organizers in the country. There has to be a body of those guys. And when there's a body, they need to be able to create collective bargaining agreements in terms of what's sustainable and what's not. If their mouths, like, as much as even DSPs, the fees they are charging in foreign countries and the fees they are charging in Nigeria are two different things.
Yeah.
So that means Nigerian artists can still afford to reduce some certain amounts of money when it comes to Nigerian shows. That's not fair, but that's the only way it's going to work. So if one promoter doesn't go and pay the artist exactly what he's asking for, then there's hope for the other so that they can also get the person to do their shows. So there's a standard now, an algorithm. They have to create an algorithm. Oh, what I mean by an algorithm is not code. I mean an algorithm in sense of what's the reputation of the artist, size of the album, what's the status of the artist, how many shows have they done this year, what's the capacity, how much have they earned from shows, what is likely to be the outcome of the money that we can give them. So if that were to happen, it may not be sustainable, but it can help in some ways. Number two, joint ventures. A lot of artists are doing joint ventures abroad with Live Nation and all these other companies. Joint venture simply means I pay you, instead of paying you 500,000 upfront, I pay you 250, and we get a revenue split at the end of the show. Mm-hmm. Nigerian artists are not going to take that to Nigeria, but it's worth trying. 3, Nigerian artists show the shows by themselves, and they get Flytime or Live Sports to come and produce. But is that going to happen? No.
Wow. Tricky situation. You know, so fans are being asked to pay serious money.
Yeah.
So what do you think should improve in terms of performance?
Oh, bro. Timing of the shows, definitely. Nigerian artists, you have to get there on time. If you want to bring global standards to Nigeria, or you want to enforce your global standards, and bring the global standards of timing as well, and better performances. Before with the band, don't come and give me DJ track one. Sing! Sing your song.
Yeah.
You were the one that got paid.
Yeah.
Sing it from head to toe, and dance, or else. You understand? If people are paying 75K, the quality of the show has to improve. Not that people are going to be waiting till 3 a.m. for somebody to come back. Enough of that.
Yeah.
If the show is put at 7 p.m., at least get on stage at 10 p.m. and perform, and let everybody go home. It's very important. That's it.
So is there a global equivalent to these high ticket prices we're seeing in Nigeria?
Bro, tickets across the world are not cheap, man. Beyonce tickets are not cheap. What determines ticket pricing across the country, across the world is people that are close to the stage probably going to be higher. It's going to get cheaper. So the people that are going to be sitting in the upper parts of the arena right? The person that sits far away from the stage is going to pay cheaper than the person that's close to the stage. Normally. It's not Nigeria where all the rich people, the people that are paying the most expensive amount of money, are on tables behind.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that at a lot of the shows. So, like, Beyonce tickets, you can check on Toronto, quite expensive. And a lot of people that want to go to the shows have to save for it.
Yeah.
They save or make sacrifices to go to the shows. So at the end of the day, you have to sacrifice to go to shows. So what it is.
So finally, do you think Nigerian artists should care about the fans at home, in the home front?
I think maybe after some of these shows that you got paid hefty amounts for, maybe some of them can then throw their own shows and get some of these companies to produce for them and then make the money cheaper for their fans. If like they don't have to. It's one of those situations where, you know, when Wiz postponed the release of More Love Less Ago after Davido's son passed, he didn't have to do it. If he didn't do it, nobody was going to come and say, oh, you are sensitive. Anybody that does that is just stupid because it's an album, right? Do you understand? As much as it's an album. But the fact that he did it, commendable. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, if any artist goes and does a show because they want to give their fans something in a world where tickets are expensive, but if you still don't do it, well, that's facts only.